Chapter 2. Hiruzen. The third turned. Danzo. Good morning. Thank you for not objecting to my slate of promotions from the Chunin exams. The old warhawk inclined his head. It was the least I could do. I was wrong, old friend. I thought that Konoha would be at too terrible a risk if her forces were allowed to soften in the decade of peace. You know how I wished for the Kyubi Jinchuriki to be entered into route, but here we are, in the aftermath of an invasion and essentially no worse off. All thanks to that will of fire that I took for meaningless garbage. Danzo then straightened. Be that as it may, I have discovered that a number of ninja were overlooked for years by the system, and appear to have become emotionally conditioned by actors unknown. I am unsure for what reason, but I think I ought to bring it to your attention. Sarutobi smiled to himself. You never let slip anything that could possibly incriminate you, do you, Danzo? Well, fine then. I'll incorporate them into extant squads once tested. Jiraiya threw a scroll to Naruto. Here, Sensei gave it to me as I left. I think it's your Chunin vest. Feel free to modify it as you see fit. I sure did. Naruto grinned. Hell yeah, I made it. Any idea who else did? Both your teammates made Chunin as well, but apparently your team's being kept together as essentially a cohesive squad, at least until people feel less embarrassed taking orders from you. Niji didn't, but I don't think he noticed. That summon trick you used on him made him so out of it he didn't even notice the invasion. As for the rest, Jiraiya thought hard. Hinata did, Ino didn't, Tenten and League both did, and it was felt that attempting to invade the village meant that the Sand Genin could damn well get promoted by their own village instead of ours. Wow. Not bad, then. Actually, that reminds me. I think your friend, Gaara, is being considered as the next Kazekage. Naruto blinked. Wait, he's the same age as me. How can they be fine with a 12-year-old in charge of a village? First is that he never sleeps, so it's more like 16 or 18 in terms of experience. Second, this is Suna. The people who looked at a puppet show and turned it into a combat art. Fair point. Gaara, like me, is a Jinchuriki son of the Yondiame Kage of our respective villages. And now he's becoming a Kage. Naruto gave a thumbs up. I like this trend. Sasuke entered the hospital room where Kakashi was recovering. Sensei, if you were involved in a tricky fight, you really should have called on us. I mean, we can help. At that moment Aoba ran into the room. Is it true that Uchiha Itachi was in Konoha and is now looking for the container of the Kyubi? Kakashi blanched and looked at his student. The only thing there was a sign hastily placed against the wall, reading Captain, I would like to request use my first day of leave from duties due to a family matter. With a caw, an 8-foot hawk shot off past the window. Damn. Kakashi sank back onto the bed. Guy. Let us have a youthful challenge over which of us can catch my youthful subordinate first. Yash. Guy jumped through the wall. Asuma looked over Kakashi. Aren't you basically bedridden? Kakashi nodded and took out a book. I suppose that means he's going to win then. Good thing I speak youth. Naruto blearily opened the hotel door. Yeah, what is it? Itachi glared at him. You are the Nine Tails container? No, I just look like him. An awkward silence developed. Are you sure? Pretty sure. I mean, I know the whisker marks are misleading, but this is all cosplay stuff. Big fan. Really. At that point the awkward atmosphere was broken by a caw, and a crash as Sasuke rammed his summon into the corridor through an end wall. Itachi. The last loyal Uchiha roared, sparking a Chidori to life in his hand. I want answers about that night. Itachi said airily. Foolish little brother. I did it to test myself, I told you already. Not about that. What was Madara doing there? You are not yet full enough of hat or weight, what? Wow, Itachi, Kisame said with an undertone of laughter, that's the first time I've ever heard you raise your voice. Itachi spun and nailed Kisame with a glare. Tsukuyomi. As his partner fell over, he whirled back to Sasuke. How the hell do you know about that? We worked it out. What I want to know is, why? Why did he want to destroy his own clan? Why force the Kyuubi to attack Konoha? Why did you help him? Itachi wiped blood from his eye, and took a deep breath. You have to understand, Madara is perhaps the most manipulative bastard on the entire planet. As far as I was concerned, the Uchiha clan's planned coup 4 years ago had to be halted, and he wanted to help me out of motives of revenge for their not supporting him decades ago. I never dreamed he would have the entire clan destroyed, only the elders who were alive at the time. Sasuke stared at him. You didn't read many history books, did you? Not really, no. Didn't have the time when I was in the middle of a 3-way tug of war between Root, Umbu, and the Uchiha clan. Fair enough. But what about excuse me a second. Sasuke dismissed his hawk, earning a slightly peeved finally, and the hotel settled back where the summon had been. I wasn't going to say anything. Itachi commented. Anyway, I now believe he had the entire clan wiped out because he wanted to ensure that he was the only person left who could manipulate tailed beasts. Naruto added his own angle. The tailed beasts are normally just kind of jerks at worst. Madara's the reason they all went nuts about 10 years before the Valley of the End battle. I think that ties in. He's trying to isolate them. Itachi nodded. Makes sense. I mean, if the Bijou have been around for almost 1,000 years before now, and there's still some semblance of a civilization, then they'd have to be. Kisame groaned in the corner. Itachi broke off for a moment, and carefully peeled up his eyelid. Tsukuyomi again. Now, where was I? Yes. Akatsuki's plan is to capture and extract the 9 Bijou for an unknown purpose. There are several. It could be make new hosts, super weapon, whatever, but the leader wishes to bring peace. Somehow. Naruto frowned. He wants to commit murder repeatedly to bring peace? That makes no sense. No offense. None taken. Now, my plan was to essentially be really exaggeratedly evil, so that when Sasuke was old enough and came to kill me he could be seen as redeeming the clan. Since that would leave Madara around, it won't be the end, but it has to be done. Sasuke clenched his fists. Why? If you're still loyal, then why do I have to kill you? Itachi smiled gently. I'm dying anyway. Cancer, I think, made worse by the Mangekyo Sharingan. I'll be lucky to last another 4 years. And perhaps it's best that way. Madara is someone you can't really fight without a Mangekyo of your own, and if you kill me you will almost certainly end up with it. If you do take my eyes in place of yours, it will make it permanent and remove the corrosive effects. Sasuke nodded, angrily rubbing his eyes. I wish it didn't have to be this way. So do I. But then, we can't choose our lives, just what paths we make. Itachi took a set of pamphlets from his pocket. Here. Each of the current Akatsuki members, and what I know of them. Naruto took them. Thanks. Well, you better get going. Indeed. Goodbye, brother. Oh, and if anyone asks, what I made Kisame believe was that I broke Sasuke's arm, hit him with the Tsukuyomi, then Jiraiya showed up just in time to save you too. All fiction, of course. Hey! Jiraiya shouted. I turned up easily in time. Only because I'm not the mass-murdering psychopath everyone believed me to be. Itachi hoisted Kisame onto a shoulder and ran off through the hole the hawk had left. You know, Naruto mused, that's possibly the most pleasant missing nin I ever met. Sasuke forced a chuckle. You've met 3. 4. Kisame counts. Jiraiya walked over. Well, that went well. What were you planning to do if it became a fight? Naruto considered. Probably just start making 2-tail clones and never stop. Sasuke leafed through the pamphlets. According to this, Kisame's sword steals chakra. It's got to have an absorption limit, eventually. Naruto then pointed to Sasuke. And what are you doing here? Taking leave for a family bereavement. I checked, and you get a day for every dead family member. I have almost a year stored up. Can you claim leave earned in the academy? They don't say. I feel confident that my case will stand up in court, though. It's a matter to be tried by the military police, as I am an Uchiha. Naruto's lips moved as he tried to process the chain of logic. That's fiendish. At that point, Guy jumped into the room and knocked Jiraiya out with a boot to the head. Well, Sasuke? Kakashi asked with a hint of sarcasm. Done with your little holiday? Yes, actually. Did you know that Itachi has a thing called the Mangekyo Sharingan, and can torture people mentally for days? Kakashi gave him a look. Why do you think I'm in hospital? He did it to me. Damn Uchiha and their broken bloodline limits. You can't talk, you have a Sharingan, and are apparently so good with it that it's your nickname. Well, yes, but at least it's not the Mangekyo Sharingan OW. Kakashi clutched his headband. That was surprisingly painful. And now I have a sinking feeling. He picked up a mirror, and moved his one-eye blindfold aside, to reveal a 3-petal design. Where the hell did that come from? Sasuke looked it over critically. It's different from Itachi's. Probably an individual thing. What I'm more surprised by is that I have it at all. Itachi said it came from the guilt of killing your best friend, though presumably it's just someone you care for significantly and then made permanent by taking the eyes of your brother. You're the most teamwork-obsessed person in Konoha. Who the hell did you kill? Kakashi looked down. I didn't, but I feel responsible for his death. I used to be a punctual loner who hated teamwork, if that gives you an idea of how badly I took it. It was him who gave me this eye, as he died, to replace the one I lost. Sasuke looked mollified. Explains the scar, then. Who was it? Obito. Think Naruto, but an Uchiha and not a demon container, obviously. I would rather not. Sasuke paused. Am I now the only person on the planet with an unevolved Sharingan? Looks like it. But I have no clue what mine does. Looks like after I get out of hospital I'll be staring at a target and saying every syllable chain in the language. Itachi's powers are named based on mythology, if that helps. Brat. I could take you out with one finger. Naruto hefted his fist. You're on. Jiraiya raised a hand. Can we perhaps do this a little out of town? I mean, this could get messy. Really? You been training the kid? I haven't really needed to. At that point a Naruto clone turned up. Hey, boss, I found a coin and decided to try gambling. And, well, I don't think we can actually lose at games of chance. Oh, neat. Grab a lottery ticket or something, perhaps? You got it. The clone vanished back into the crowd. Tsunade frowned. Impressive. Shadow clone? Yep. Okay, brat. Make your move. With a thump, Naruto materialized his 2-tailed chakra cloak. Tsunade nodded absently to herself. Thought he looked familiar, that must be it, that or that I'm an Uzumaki, so technically your closest living relative. Naruto replied casually. Well, I'm waiting. Let's see you beat me with one finger. Okay, fine. I can't beat you with a finger. She tore up a piece of ground and compressed it into a dense ball, before flicking it at Naruto with a boom of tearing air. It hit his forehead and, while it didn't penetrate the cloak, still sent him sailing backwards from the sheer momentum of the impact. He eventually came back to earth with a thump, when his trajectory intercepted with a rock spire. Oh. See, kid? Tsunade strolled over, her former teammate and current apprentice behind her. Not so easy to beat a Sannin, is it? I got Orochimaru to go away. blew his zombie Hokages up and stopped them from killing the old man. Naruto rubbed his forehead, his hand passing easily through the cloak. Geez, you hit worse than Sakura. Shizen stared. Are you okay? That much blunt force impact would at least concuss most people. Part of being the container is a pretty sweet passive regeneration. It's sort of necessary, as going above about the 3-tail limit still means I begin to destabilize. She continued staring. How exactly are you unconcerned about that? I mean, if I knew my body would break down under the strain of anything, I'd panic over it. Name me an S-class ninja without something like that. Shizen thought. The fourth? Dad's last technique did kill him, though. And mind sticking to living ninja? The third? Breaking out the same technique before I intervened. Air Jiraiya? Jiraiya shook his head. Sage mode's incomplete for me. I get disfigurements which, while minor, still amount to spontaneous warts and my nose changing size. Shizen had to think hard. Air HM, what about the current Raikage? I don't know much about him, so I have to concede the point. Bet he has something like it in reserve, though. Naruto lay back on the rock spire, which began crumbling ever so slightly under the pressure. But you take my point? At least I can fix it. Tsunade looked fascinated. So, does your regeneration mean you age faster, like mine does? Are you kidding? I'm short for 12, let alone 14 or whatever I'd be with that. It's related to shapeshifting, if that helps. She rubbed her chin. I'd love to study that well, if you would only come back to Konoha, then you'd have the chance. And it would be great for my teammate, too, she's a real fan of yours. Half the kunoichi in the elemental countries are fans of mine, brat. I'm one of the only Kage rank female ninja. Though apparently there's someone in Mist who's getting there. Naruto dropped his cloak and pulled out the set of pamphlets Itachi had given him. Hang on, there's someone on here as well. One of the members of Akatsuki is female. Wow, blue-haired Jiraiya started with shock. Let me see that. Naruto passed over the dossiers. When Jiraiya had them, he gasped. Conan, she's still alive? And an S-class ninja, as well. Tsunade snapped her fingers, trying to remember. Conan, that orphan girl from AIM? The one with the origami techniques? Jiraiya nodded. Yes. And while that sounds a bit pathetic, one must remember that explosive tags are made of paper. I have to wonder if the other two are also alive. Hang on, this is Yahiko. But with the Rinnegan? This makes no sense. Nagata was the one with the Rinnegan. Is the Rinnegan another of those eye powers? Like the Sharingan? Yes, actually. It's supposed to be the most powerful dojutsu of all, though given the Mangekyo Sharingan, I'm not sure it can hold that mantle. Jiraiya took Itachi's file. At least most of the Mangekyo powers are eye-based. Nope, wait, that one makes even less sense than the Rinnegan. Giant three-armed storm god? Naruto nodded absently. So, what about it, Granny? You coming back with us? Tsunade sighed. It's pretty clear that I'm just going to end up back in Konoha anyway, isn't it? And don't call me Granny. What else am I supposed to call you? You're the same age as Jiraiya, and he's clearly 2 generations older than me, and you're a woman related to me. Unless you prefer great aunt? Oh, Dad said you two were my godparents, would that be okay? Tsunade blinked. I don't believe I missed that, that's why you look so familiar. Your dad's the 4th, right? When the hell did you speak to him? Orochimaru used the impure resurrection, and it seems Minato somehow subverted the commands he was given enough that he and Naruto just had a long chat. Jiraiya chuckled. It was really strange to watch, actually, this massive battle going hammer and tongs on one side of the arena, and on the other a kid in a 3-tailed chakra cloak and the 4th Hokage just sitting down for a talk. Tsunade chuckled. So he's had that chance, has he? He's very lucky. Jiraiya nodded. Yeah. Though, I just thought, did you ever get over that blood problem? The slug princess shook her head. No, I still just freeze up. Not the best problem for a medical ninja to have, really. Naruto grinned. I can fix that. Summoning, ninja therapist. Nii appeared in a puff of smoke. Jiraiya gasped. Did you say ninja therapist? As in, she is a fox that can help ninja with their emotional issues? Yeah, she does it a lot. Why, is that significant? Shizune bent over to whisper. Naruto, most powerful ninja are really messed up in the head. In fact, most ninja are, period, and it's nearly impossible to find therapy for them. This may be more significant to medicine than that regeneration thing. Yeah, I guess Sasuke was a bit more messed up before Nii spoke to him, and so was Sakura and Gaara. I see your point. Nii was sitting on her haunches next to Tsunade, who was by now lying on a couch formed with an earth technique. So, tell me about your mother. Orochimaru looked around Tanzakugai. He was sure this was where Kabuto had said she'd be, and he needed Tsunade's help rather desperately before Kimimaro fell apart. With no curse seal on an Uchiha, it was looking like he'd have to use the Kagaya for his next body jump if he could get the boy healthy, that was. Tsunade? Where the hell are you? I have an injured subordinate that needs healing. I understand your trauma about this sort of thing, but it's not something to worry about. We just recently received objective proof that there is an afterlife. The former Hokages were pulled from there by Orochimaru. After all, personality intact, and come to think of it, we might actually owe him for rescuing the fourth from eternal torment or whatever it is the Shinigami does. Tsunade nodded to the fox, not trusting herself to speak. There was something in her throat. Nii's gentle voice continued. And as for blood, well, seeing blood doesn't mean someone's dead. It means they're hurt, but anyone who still bleeds is still alive and can be saved. You're not going to let something you understand in all particulars simply defeat you that easily, are you? The last Senju clenched her fists. Hell no. Blood is a conduit for power, a life-sustaining fluid, the representation of a person on a deep level. It's why it can be used for summoning. Above all, it is life, not death. Her patient gathered herself and got up off the couch. Taking out a kunai and visibly steeling herself, she sliced her thumb and ran through the summoning technique. When she was able to finish without freezing up at the sight of her own blood, she looked at the resultant slug a foot or so long in wonder. I did it, thank you, Miss Nii. That's what I'm here for. The dichromatic fox vanished in a smoke cloud. Ere the slug looked around. You haven't summoned any of us in years, is something wrong? And when did Minato get younger? Naruto blinked. Is the resemblance that obvious? Sakura held the leaf in her hands. She had managed to get a basic water technique, the violent water wave, off of Kakashi recently, and through learning it had got some sense of how to use water chakra. But the exercise of using the element without conversion seals was going poorly. Water. What is water? What does it represent? Subtlety. Flowing without touching. Power hidden, size unseen, depths. Versatility. In ice, water makes the element more solid. In boil, it conveys the power. In wood, it creates movement. In storm, it provides a path. In weapons, it makes the user more graceful. In all things, water is not the power, but the conduit for it. That which lets it seek the target. For a moment, her vision blurred, then the leaf was abruptly soaked. Within her mind, the Sakura of control stared around wildly. There was her warrior aspect, so who was controlling her body? Hello. Both Sakuras turned to the newcomer, surprised to hear a voice like their own. They saw a third Sakura, this one with deep blue eyes and a demure expression. I suppose that must have been surprising for you. In truth, it was for me as well. I think we just created a new aspect for the water element. Me warrior gave a wild grin. Welcome to the party, then. You seem very humble, why's that? Control held up her hand. I think I know. Her elements affecting her personality, just like how you're more brash than I am. And it's more her being subtle than anything. Water nodded. That makes a great deal of sense. But does this mean that we will have to choose which of us is in use at any time? Control pointed to the chair. Well, not which one, anyway. Water turned, a graceful and precise motion, to see that the single chair in their shared mind was replaced by two. Neat. Warrior weighed in. This mean we get 2 out of 3 now? I presume so. Sakura blinked twice, then got up from her seat and flipped through the seals for the violent water wave. The technique fired with a massive blast of water compared to her earlier uses, easily enough to be useful in combat. Another rapid blink, and she tried the technique again, this time omitting the first-hand seal. It misfired, but a second try got it just right. Okay, being able to pick 2 of element, control and power is going to be kinda cool. An idea came to her, and she switched to power/control, then ran through the complex set of seals for self-measurement of chakra. It was designed to sort of flow one's chakra through it from one side of the measurement structure to the other, and quantify what went through as a point of light that shone with color. It rose from the ground to a meter in height as red, then returned to the bottom as orange and went again, this time taking several times the chakra for the same rise. Naruto had tried once, and, after a few dozen false starts, gotten a point that blazed through the entire rainbow in a second, before passing out of the human visual range. Kakashi had told him to end the technique at that point as they couldn't learn anything else useful, but the upper end he'd passed was Kage rank. Not that hadn't been obvious from how he threw around a Jonin-level force multiplier technique, like confetti. Sakura's control alone was in the red, but her power alone was into the very low yellow. Now she got something about middling on the yellow, so her 2 aspects combined produced at least some more than both alone put together. More importantly, though, that was enough that she could sustain a good illusion in combat. Clones, she could manage with split attention, but much more took too much chakra for her control to supply alone. Or perhaps I should look into utility techniques. Body flicker is underused, as is replacement. Orochimaru stormed up the side of a mountain. Is this where you've gone, Tsunade? I was going to offer you a business proposition, sometime with Nawaki and Dan, in return for healing one of my subordinates, and what's with the crater? Tsunade looked shifty. Nothing. What were you saying again? Jiraiya and Naruto legged it down the other side of the mountain. Naruto turned to his godfather. You sure this is going to work? Nope. But old Rochi always was one to go for known weaknesses, and if he tries to use her blood phobia on her he'll get a nasty shock. Anything else and Shizen'll have time to get us. This is just an excuse to perv out in a large civilian town for a week, right? The Toad Sage looked shifty. Partly right. Naruto sighed. Time for more Rasengan practice, then. I still haven't got the hang of actually using it without a clone. Kakashi sighed to himself, and looked down again at the list they'd prepared. Thus far, he'd named every kami in Shinto from major to minor, all the legendary weapons and most of the mortal heroes. This is ridiculous. It might not trigger like this at all. And I'll be on to mythical beasts soon. I don't see why I have to do this. Sasuke rolled his eyes. If you have a Mangekyo Sharingan, then you're one of the people who could actually fight or negate another. And I want to know what kind of restrictions there are on the powers, as Madara never set the first on black fire. Fine, fine. But you better get the Ainu encyclopedia, because soon we'll be out of Kami entirely and onto Kamui. The list vanished into a wormhole. Kakashi looked at the result for a few seconds, then very slowly fell over. Sasuke nodded appreciatively. Not bad. How much chakra did that take? Medic. No blood either. You somehow got the eternal Mangekyo from the transplant. Maybe your friend felt as guilty about you losing your eye in those last minutes or something? Get me medical attention, damn it. And cover my eye before you go. Okay, let's have a look at you. Tsunade grabbed Kimamaro's arm and dragged him over to a small depression. Let's see, what are your symptoms? Sniffle? Headache? Perhaps a bit of cramp? Kimamaro glared at her. I am a Kagaya. I literally rip my bones out of my body to use as weapons. The Senju nodded absently. Right, so you're probably calcium deficient. And my guess is that you don't actually get any proper medical checkups for how a poorly understood bloodline interacts with that tuberculosis, either. Orochimaru strode over, chuckling. Don't think I haven't tried, Tsunade. His bodily structure is radically different to that of anyone else I could experiment on. Orochimaru, are you actually capable of learning something without leaving a trail of corpses? Shizune asked curiously. Well, I tried once, but that was the whole incident with the wood element. Turns out that injecting 60 orphans with a dangerous, untested serum which may or may not even involve the first genetic material was a bad idea. Who knew, the snake Sannin mused absently. Even Kimamaro was looking a bit put off. For the first time, I'm glad that I'm the last of my bloodline you didn't know if it contained his genetic material? Tsunade asked. His body was actually mostly missing by the time I got to it. There were signs the coffin had been opened before. Several times. Shizune frowned. That's kind of worrying, tell me about it. The second was much more intact, but a quick test revealed no evidence of his water ability being an actual bloodline gift, and I lost interest. As for the fourth, well, that was no good either. His speed was completely unrelated to any bloodline, not even the swift release. Orochimaru rambled. Worst of all, though, was that I couldn't find a single Uchiha body. And when I went after Itachi, well, best not talk about that. Tsunade had largely tuned out her former teammates' rambling, as it was mostly focused on his wide-scale desecration of the graves of her family, but something made her pause her diagnosis technique. Wait, how did you not get an Uchiha? There were about 300 or so of them. I have no idea. At first I expected that Konoha had taken them all, but when the ninja forces failed to upgrade to Sharingan eyes like Kakashi, well, so much for that. Tsunade rolled her eyes. And morality plays no part in it, I'm sure. Well, yes. Danzo is still alive. Himamaro rolled his arms experimentally. I can actually move properly. That hasn't happened for years. Tsunade wiped sweat from her brow. Don't strain yourself for a while. That means no major combat, no strenuous training, and no opening the gates. But I don't open the gates. The Kagaya looked confused for a moment. You had severe damage to the tenketsu and tissue around the gate of pain. That's where strain builds up faster than any other gate, so it's often seen on really serious taijutsu users. That kind of scarring isn't found from anything else except being stabbed in the spine by a fire chakra blade. Orochimaru sighed, annoyed at having to reveal one of his secrets. Kimamaro, the curse seal is a stabilized form of opening the gates. Normally, it would reverse the effects by promoting healing as the gate of life shut down, though I assume in this case it's not worked due to your illness. Tsunade nodded to herself. That would do it. Anyway, the damage is still quite bad, and as your lungs aren't toughened like the rest of your body, opening the fourth gate could lead to massive rupture of the pleural cavity. And that would be just nasty. Right. Now, Tsunade, Orochimaru gave a vicious grin. A promise is a promise. Mind getting your assistant over here? The technique does require a human sacrifice, and I'm all out of sound genin after what I did to bring the Hokages back. Shizune replied by firing a cloud of poison to obscure her position, and Tsunade frowned in momentary mental effort. The slug on Naruto's shoulder, underneath the jumpsuit, fired a brief burst of acid and dispersed. Naruto reacted to the sting even as it regenerated. It's time, Jiraiya. Brat. Jiraiya shouted as both leapt from the building. use a respectful name for me like everyone else does. I know you better than they do, that must be it. Naruto replied, then bit his thumb and summoned Ikamaru. Get up there and summon me, Speedy. If you're sure. The silvery fox flowed off with a wash of displaced air. Jiraiya shook his head. Only you, kid, would use a summon to cover 2 miles of distance. By the time the old man had finished speaking, Naruto was gone. Orochimaru began by summoning Manda. It was a good first step, as his summoning also involved a liberal amount of blood and would immobilize Tsunade. So it was with confidence that he slashed his thumb down his contract tattoo and invoked the most powerful of the snakes, along with 2 more as a support team. Where are my sacrifices, Orochimaru? You know I demand them. Manda roared as he materialized. Orochimaru chuckled. There's a town just downhill, that work? Called Tanzakugai or something, it's large enough to sate you. But kill Tsunade first, will you? The ground shook, and Orochimaru returned his attention to the main battlefield. It wasn't an encouraging sight. Tsunade, rather than cowering in hemophobic shock, was bringing out her own giant slugs. Kabuto had emerged from his cover, and was delaying engaging Shizune until his anti-poison technique was up. And Kimimaro wasn't killing either of his opponents. Why? Well, that would be because that infernal Kyuubi Jinchuriki was attempting to knock him unconscious for trying to attack Granny. Oh, Uzumaki. That was where he recognized the brat's name from when Kabuto had reported to him. Brilliant. He'd pissed off every surviving relative of the 3 dead Hokages at once, and they were all here. Both of them. At that point, Jiraiya arrived on the battlefield by way of Gamabunta, landing on one of his secondary summons. This just kept getting better and better. Oh, wow! Came a voice from the Jinchuriki. This is a big summon battle, right? I'll join in. Then a trio of foxes, not the size of his own large snakes, but nearly appeared and began attempting seriously to fillet the other secondary snake summon. Orochimaru multiplied himself with clones and drew the Kusanagi. He hadn't planned on fighting both his former teammates, but he was confident he could make a good go of it. So, what's the deal with you, anyway? Naruto asked as a bone evaporated against his chakra cloak. Kimimaro frowned in annoyance and pulled out another. I mean, that bone thing you're doing is just gross. And I don't think it's healthy either. It is a bloodline, the dead bone pulse. Kimimaro replied, and tried making his bone sword harder than steel. A quick test showed it to simply evaporate slower, and the other boy's dodging meant that it couldn't hit him before being too degraded to be any good. It lets me manipulate the calcium in my bones. Wow, that's kinda cool, but still disgusting. Aren't bloodlines found in families? Where's yours? I was the only Kagaya in a generation with this bloodline, and used as a weapon against the people of Mist. I have heard that this was involved in strengthening the bloodline purges of the village. Bloodline purges? That makes no sense. People with bloodlines fight better because they get a chance to survive long enough to get some experience. Why would anyone just kill off all their best ninja? I do not know. But the 4th Mizukage was involved. In any case, I owe my Lord Orochimaru a great debt for saving me from a life of loneliness and misery. Naruto considered this as a chakra-enhanced tail whipped around with barely a moment of mental effort and intercepted a barrage of finger bones. Seriously, that's not right. And I suppose if that's the way you think, then I can't gainsay you. The other tail from his current shroud smacked Kabuto in the face. And as for you, creepy glasses guy, shove off and stop trying to hurt Shizune. A shower of Senbon needles volleyed after the traitorous Konoha ninja, and he was only able to block most of them, the remainder giving him quite an impressive set of piercings across the ears and cheeks. Lord Orochimaru, came Kabuto's cry. We must retreat. Orochimaru turned as 3 mud clones, a water clone, a shadow clone and two summoned snakes launched another massive attack salvo that Jiraiya evaded with a summoned frog, two A-rank earth techniques, a Rasengan, and by unsealing an A-rank fire technique in a scroll to torch the summons. For a moment he was thrown. What is leader from Akatsuki doing here? Oh, hang on, that's Kabuto under the piercings. What? Why, I have this totally under control. With a crash, Manda landed next to him. That Tsunade was struggling out of a large crater, cursing, on the other side of the field, explained where he'd come from. Tsunade on full boost was fully capable of beating up a bijou, but the main issue was finding somewhere to stand to use it. I'm leaving, Orochimaru. Next time, summon me to face Gamabunta or Katsuyu, not both. The great serpent vanished in a cloud of smoke. Orochimaru winced. Okay, maybe not totally. His clones had kept up their side of the battlefield, but when they launched 3 different elemental great dragon techniques at Jiraiya, the Toad Sage finally felt enough was enough and unleashed his own trump card. At the sight of Jiraiya entering Sage mode, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, not even fatigued from fighting Kimimaro for 5 minutes, the boy had in fact barely moved, his cloak protecting him, but Orochimaru hadn't been paying attention, and the enemy starting to win the summon war, he decided to cut his losses and preserve his gains. Making a quick signal to his subordinates, he vanished with them in a body flame technique. He was fond of it. It allowed much longer range jumps than the flicker. Plus it looked nice. Jiraiya released Sage mode, and sighed. Well, he's gone. Tsunade scowled. All that gaff about honored Sage mode, and you being a sealing master, and you forgot to ward the battlefield against long-range teleports. I don't know, Jiraiya, you seem to have lost your touch. The Toad Sage grinned, accepting the jab. And what about you, Tsunade? Who was it I saw forgetting to harden the ground under her when she punched Manda? He rounded on Naruto. And did I see you having a little chat with that Kagaya in the middle of the battlefield? What was all that supposed to be about? Naruto shrugged. He hadn't actually hurt anyone else, and he seemed more unsure about how he couldn't hurt me than anything. Not much can in 2 tails. Besides, remember Gaara? And Itachi? Most people tend to reveal useful things if I keep them talking. Tsunade shrugged. It's true, that seems to work with most people. Don't know if you heard, but old Snakey let slip that his curse seals are based on the inner gates, and that's gold. Is his old student still in Konoha? I think we might want to analyze the thing again with that tidbit. Naruto jogged over to his 3 large summons. You guys okay? No, Joe, huh? The 3 foxes made rumbles of assent. Actually, where do your names come from anyway? Jiraiya pondered. Sounds like it's related to plays. No is a type of play in 3 acts. Joe, ha, Q. Naruto snickered. Nice one, guys. So the largest of you is Ha, and then the only larger fox on the contract completes the chain. Morning, sensei. Out of hospital? Kakashi nodded. That move gave me chakra exhaustion in seconds. I'm not sure if this Kamui Kakashi's forehead protector vanished into a miniature wormhole and he collapsed. The medics caught him. Wow, that was perhaps the shortest time anyone's ever been admitted to hospital twice for the exact same problem. Tsunade laughed. You're kidding. So after you got your summon contract by total accident, the same way as this idiot, she punctuated her sentence by cuffing Jiraiya around the head as he began to reach for Shizune, and then the Uchiha on your team got his by a similar little reverse summoning. Your 3rd team member found a contract absolutely perfect for her in a backpack. Naruto nodded. Well, it was Kori who found it, but Sakura certainly took to the contract well. And we're all Chunin, so we seem to be following in the footsteps of your team granny. Brat. She shouted automatically. But go over the animals again? Why? Jiraiya rubbed his head. I'll lay off the super strength when you do that, Tsunade. You replaced half your young chakra with spirit frog essence, you can bloody well take it. That's just mean, Jiraiya pouted. And as for what she was asking, the summons that our old team had shaped our relationship in initially subtle ways. Naruto thought for a second. Snake frog sluggo, I see. It's like Jan, Ken, Pon. Exactly. Snake beats frog beats slug and slug beats snake, though interestingly when we were last a team our personal battles would have gone the other way. I could beat Orochimaru at the time and so on. But our summons don't really have any connection, do they? Fox, hawk, otter. Tsunade's lips moved for a moment. Got it. They're separate but equal, each the small, but still valid apex predator of a different environment. Land, air, water. Jiraiya looked contemplative. That could be encouraging. If their summons personify the theme of their team dynamic, then it's going to be stable rather than dynamically unstable like ours was. Heh, that, and we're all scared of Sakura. Hang on. Shizune was getting cross-eyed. You can form a Jinchuriki cloak and another person on your team is an Uchiha, the last loyal one if I recall, and you're scared of this Sakura? She has some sort of mental aspect thing going on. She can be a bookworm with perfect chakra control 1 second and a taijutsu specialist the next. Hey, she hits hard. Aspect? Tsunade considered. Kami blood? Probably. Yeah, the old fox mentioned that. He said she had potent divine heritage or something. Ah, Tsunade, good to see you. Sarutobi shuffled his paperwork to the side. I understand that your godson there has done the same thing he does with everyone that gets within 10 feet of him, and resolved most of your outstanding issues. Tell me, would you mind helping out in hospital at all? I understand that, in addition to the normal cases and a rather unusual case of combat trauma in a Hyuga, Kakashi Hatake is in and out of the hospital every other day. Something about a technique that eats through most of his chakra in one use. Tsunade nodded. Hang on, where did the combat trauma come from? Naruto scratched the back of his head. That was basically me. I used my boss summon to swallow him whole during the Chunin exams, and I think he was in divination circle mode at the time. All the older ninja winced. Lord Hokage, does that mean Izumo? Asked from the mission desk. Yes, the Byakugan can provide 360-degree perception of an area of space. I don't really want to think about it. Okay, guys, I finally got this working so now I can teach you. The Rasengan, Naruto formed one in his hand, is one of my father's 2 signature techniques, an A-rank ninjutsu that can basically chew through rock. It is also incomplete. Sasuke blinked his Sharingan eyes. You're kidding. Nope. This is a shape transformation technique alone. Hypothetically, it could be worked with nature transformation, but Dad apparently kept blowing up shadow clones and just stopped trying after a bit. Oh, by the way, if either of you two try and complete it, use a shadow clone. This thing's damn powerful as it is, and if it has an element in it things just get worse. Destabilization is like holding an explosive tag. Sakura chuckled. You already tried, didn't you? The boy scowled. Yep, slightest hint of wind chakra and boom. He brightened. But apparently both of you can manage at least the Rasengan at your current level of chakra, so here's how it works. First step is to use your chakra to pop a water balloon, by swirling the chakra in it in multiple directions at once. Sasuke took one of the balloons. Seems simple enough. Yeah, when Jiraiya taught me he left out the second half of the sentence as a test. Freaking hermit Sakura frowned as she took one, and went power/control. You learned this in a month? More, to do it one-handed? More like 2.5 months, call it a good few years in clone time. The tricky bit was getting my chakra swirling differently depending on the tenketsu in my hand. I got with a clone form of it in hours once inspiration hit, and I filled in the gap. But your control's still pathetic for your rank. This is an A-rank technique based on pure chakra manipulation, Not even any hand seals. I've always substituted determination for skill, you know that. Sakura chuckled, and got to work. Swirl it clockwise and anti-clockwise from alternating tenketsu. The balloon punctured and slowly emptied. Okay, that means you messed it up somehow. I'd guess one of the directions formed stronger than the others, and it ripped at the pole of that one. Sakura took another balloon and paused, before trying again slower. Both directions at once, juggle them carefully and power them up. With a wash of water, the balloon tore. Wow, that's great. Only 2 goes. Naruto enthused. Hang on, I forgot to get the rubber balls for stage 2. Sasuke reactivated his Sharingan. Mind me having a look at what it's supposed to form like, you too? I don't have the perfect control or the clones to do it by trial and error. Sakura held out her hand and reformed hers, as Naruto had already run off. Inwardly she was bubbling with new ideas. I know my control's good, very good. So what could I do if I had some ability to actually sense the chakra I use, for feedback? I'll have to look into how the village trains sensors. Well, apart from the ones from the clans, like the Hyuga and the Yamanaka and the Inuzuka, wow, we have a lot of clans with sensory talent. Hope they still have classes for non-clan sensors. Sasuke was talking again. That is weird. I feel like, well, I can see it, but my eyes don't want to copy it or something. I think they can only copy complete seal sequences and sort of work around the mental aspect of the expressed chakra. Makes sense. And it explains why our sensei, is he out of the hospital yet, by the way? Hasn't got any copied techniques with less seals than normal. Sasuke nodded in agreement. He's still in hospital. Every time he gets out, I get him to practice his Kamui technique and he goes right back in again. Why? The Uchiha shrugged. Mostly revenge for his training philosophy in Wave, really. If massive use of chakra makes it grow faster, then nearly killing himself with that hilariously costly technique should give him Kage reserves inside a year. That's evil. I approve. Kakashi sneezed. His students were talking about him again. Damn Sasuke, I'll set guy on him if he's so enthusiastic about training. Sasuke shivered. Where did that sense of incredible foreboding come from? Okay, I got the rubber balls. Naruto called. This one's the same as the last one, but it's about making sure you can put enough chakra into the Rasengan to pop the ball without the water helping. This was the easiest step of the lot for me, I don't mind telling you. Let me guess, first ball just exploded hard enough to put shrapnel in the walls. Wrong. It was the second. The first was vaporized when I used Yukai. Kakashi strolled over to his 3 Chunin. Good news. I'm out of the hospital again. Sasuke spun to look at his sensei, dropping his rubber ball. Sensei, what's the name of your Mangekyo technique again? Kakashi flinched. You're not getting me with that one again. I refuse, categorically, to train in using the, he noticed Sasuke looking eager. Unspecified and utterly not to be named technique anymore. Sasuke nodded. So it still activates whenever you say the name, then. Not my fault. Now, on to the point. You 3 have been hired, with me probably due to the show you put on in the exams for a mission in the Land of Snow. Basically, they have a recalcitrant princess who is now an actor they need brought back to her country to lead a revolution. Or make a film. Either or, really the 3 just stared. Sasuke eventually spoke for them. What? I don't see the problem. This is either a C rank or an A rank. Sakura said. I mean, remember what eventually happened in Wave? There was a revolution there, and while the Konoha ninja that went to help out didn't have a problem, they could have if Zabuza and that fake hunter Nin had reappeared. Naruto frowned. The hunter Nin was fake? Don't worry about it, Naruto. If you haven't worked it out by now, then just never mind. Kakashi coughed. Actually, Mist sent us a nice note saying that a lot of their missing nin are no longer missing, so Zaboza is back in the Seven Swordsmen. That does mean he's still alive, obviously. It seems that there was a revolution. They seem popular lately, and the Kage got utterly vaporized by a massive explosion. Who are the other Seven Swordsmen, then, sensei? Asked Sakura. Nobody yet. At the moment, it's more of a one swordsman. Kakashi shook his head. But enough of that. Let's get going to the port we meet our client at. And just why did you beat up our client? Kakashi asked, laughter in his voice. Sasuke winced. Damn, we all got too caught up in that film. Naruto, stop the actress. Right. Naruto flashed through a summoning. Ikamaru. Get me in front of the woman on that horse, will you? If that's what you want. Well, here you go. What's the plan? Naruto responded by summoning again. Kane, be ready for a replacement. Kori, throw up an illusion trigger cloud across her path. Mo, go with Kane for when she finally works it out. So you're going for a prank? We have taught you well. Please, I got you guys for a reason. Princess Fuji rode desperately for safety. She couldn't go back to snow. It was impossible. She'd be killed. Even if all the people there suffered under the rule of her uncle, she was too afraid. Her vision blurred, and she rubbed at her eyes, lowering herself on her mount to go faster. Several minutes later, she felt her horse slowing. Up till now, she'd been too busy making sure she didn't hit anything to pay attention to where she was going, but now she could look around. She saw warehouses, the skyline of the town behind her, and a wharf ahead, including the ship her manager had chartered to go to Snow. How? Are we done now? Came the voice from below her. Shocked, she looked again at her mount and saw a red-furred back instead of the horse she was expecting. Kane walked up to the Konoha team. Here she is. Nice one, Naruto, she didn't spot it until I spoke. Kakashi looked the princess over. She was enthusiastically cuddling a fox that appeared to be mostly made up of a pair of big, dewy eyes, seemingly oblivious to the world around her. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck. She'll be out of it for a while, may as well get her on the ship now. That iceberg looks like the perfect place to get some filming in. The three Chunin looked between one another. Sakura spoke first. I'll be close range, Sasuke be support. Naruto, do that sensor thing and have your fire summons ready. I never bothered ending the summon on Kane, but point taken. Naruto sat down and focused. Wow, the nature chakra here is really different to Konoha. Sort of crisp and clear. Still works fine though. He opened his eyes. Nothing certain, but there's some areas of higher than normal chakra concentration. Keep your guard up. Don't have to tell us, Naruto. Sasuke muttered, and activated his eyes. Hey, actually, watching acting like this is pretty neat. I wonder if they might do special effects like it. What, some sort of time-slowing thing where you can see the flight of shuriken? Shuriken time? Yeah, could work. Catchy name. What the hell? Chakra shield. Sasuke fired off a phoenix flower to test that, producing a shimmer of chakra backlash and no other effect. That's right. It absorbs the chakra of attacks to provide a defense. Sakura threw a kunai at one of the snow ninja. It hit the shield and bounced off. Your weapons are also useless. Hang on, where's the chakra in a kunai? The snow kunoichi looked a bit unsure. I think it also uses our own chakra to shield. You can't get through it with only techniques, at any rate, and generally we're invincible. Two of the snow nin fired off ice attacks at Sakura, and the third began to send ranged attacks at the more distant Sasuke, who replied with his own tools for the enemy kunai and fire attacks on the jutsu. Sakura was saved by a flaming fox that kanonied through the attacks and dispersed them, followed by Kane, who began sending his own fire attacks in support. Thanks, Kajura. Think nothing of it. Aya. The smaller fox bounced up from Kane's back. Yippee, boom. The snow ninja may have been immune to elemental attacks, but being positively bathed in flame wasn't exactly pleasant. Naruto. Get the film crew back onto the boat, we're pulling out of here. I wanted to test the limit of that armor. Naruto muttered, as his customary horde of clones carted everyone off the iceberg. Kakashi's contribution to the fight was to throw a copied ice technique at the snow ninja, something Sasuke quickly began to do as well from the back of a hawk summon. Naruto's foxes dismissed themselves as the ice finally collapsed, and Sakura hurriedly replaced herself with a somewhat startled Naruto clone to get on the boat. Hey, that was really cold, Sakura. Oh, cool off. Besides, if I hadn't, I'd have been adrift and on ice, all at sea. Sasuke winced. Those puns might have broken the ice, but they're not much good otherwise. Kakashi gave a heartfelt groan. What the hell is that thing? It's a train. Isn't it? I have no idea what a train is supposed to be, or for that matter those colorful metal wagons from earlier. Come to think of it, who was the seal master who made the cinema? All of that is technology, Naruto. Keep up. I would, if I could. If we have technology that does all this sort of thing, then why does only Snow Country use it? Apart from things like fridges and TVs, which kind of seem more complicated to me. Kakashi blinked. Not sure. Hell, Hidoto lost it. Pay attention to me, damn it. The train's sides opened to reveal kunai launchers. Naruto formed a quick seal and continued talking. I'd rather not. Now, as I was saying, hundreds of clones formed and began seals. Gusty barrier. Sakura watched as the walls of wind threw the kunai barges everywhere but at the targets. Nice one, Naruto. When did you learn that one? One of my clones saw the sensei of Team 10 demonstrating, and it looked useful, so I asked him about it. You know, he wasn't aware there was another wind affinity in Konoha. He was so pleased. Then I just put 50 clones on it for a week, and here we are. Sakura tried to track how much time Naruto had spent on the technique. That's what, a year's training? Not really. All it means is that I get the absolute top % training day, 7 days in a row. I've always learned kinda fast. Tell me about it. Hang on, is Asuma Sarutobi the only other wind affinity in Konoha? Seriously? Kakashi nodded. Wind in general is pretty rare, and we live in the land of fire, so elementally wind is at a disadvantage. Arg! Doton shouted. Retreat and get the airship, you fools. Sasuke shook his head. Why Naruto let himself get captured, I have no idea. One of the remaining clones on the ground snickered. Easy. This way, the boss gets taken to the castle, and then he can bring you guys along. But will he be able to break out? Or summon? Sakura thought for a moment. Right, stupid question. He can shapeshift and has 9 tails of chakra in his gut. Exactly. 3, 2, 1, and I can't take it anymore. Naruto gently tugged on his second chakra source, then pushed. The entire prison lit up like a Christmas tree, and then the less well-buffered absorption arrays began to explode. Princess Kazuhana gasped. What are you doing? Me? I'm actually putting some effort into things. The seal tag on the door exploded, doing nothing at all to the Jinchuriki but handily blowing the door down for him, and the manacles gave way. Naruto dropped his tailed state and got to summoning. Aya, Nii, you know what to do. Kakashi sighed as his other 2 Chunin vanished in smoke. Right, we may as well attack now. I should really see about getting in on that whole reverse summon network they have going. It's all right. I knew this, Naruto. When I returned here I would die. Naruto replied by punching out a tail of forming chakra at the black chakra armor, and took some considerable satisfaction as it began to glow red hot. Doton hurriedly disappeared up into his airship before the seal arrays could overload completely. Ah, that would have been fun. Hey, princess, where's your necklace? He took it. He must be going to activate my father's hidden ultimate weapon. Naruto sighed. You know, technically I'm the ultimate weapon here. It's some kind of sealing technological wonder, I have no idea what it is. Doton could do anything with it. Fine, fine. I suppose regime change is a worthy goal. Hey, does this mean we're going to be in the next film? Well, look at that. It's a light show machine. Doton winced. Never mind that. I'll still get rid of you, and then the two of his chakra-armored ninja got hit by lightning bolts and collapsed. The third, the kunoichi, looked around wildly for a second before a blizzard of kunai exhausted her chakra shield and took her out. Sakura grinned. Cease fire, Naruto clones. I knew getting you to collect all those kunai would come in handy. Sasuke banked overhead on his Thunderbird. And turns out that they can't really handle the lightning element. Go figure. Doton turned to the disaster in shock. What? The chakra armor is invincible. Naruto spun up a Rasengan, watching as it collected the local, rainbow effect chakra. This is kinda cool. Now I want to see what it does. Just try it, brat. Your teammates may have beaten my subordinates, but my black chakra armor is much stronger. Eat prismatic Rasengan. So much for that. Hey, it looks like he hit the light show machine and he broke the ice and what? A pulse of power spread out from the machine, and in seconds the entire country was suddenly the perfect picture of springtime. What the hell? That cannot be natural. Sakura looked it over. This is strange. I can almost read this. It seems to say something about the glory of spring to the land of snow. Sasuke dismounted from his hawk. I don't see anything. No, I mean the seals themselves. I know, lost it. Whatever it was, I can't see it anymore. I'm more concerned about where the animals came from. Naruto said. I mean, come on. Butterflies? Oh, hey, Sasuke. Finished the Rasengan? Sasuke nodded. I think I might try adding an element to it, actually. How hard can it be? Your choice, just do it with a shadow clone. I guess you copied that off me? No. You do it with fewer seals, I can only copy complete seal sequences. Huh. Makes sense, I suppose. Naruto ran through the complete normal sequence for the shadow clone, and only made one this time. There you go. Thanks. Sasuke formed a shadow clone, and it began to focus fire chakra into the whirling ball of the Rasengan. Boom. Bits of debris rained down around them, and Sakura hurriedly fired off a water technique to put out the nascent fire. Wow, I see what you mean. There's no way I'm trying that myself. Naruto did a double take. Our next mission is to escort someone having a foot race? This is just sad. Yes. Someone called Idate Marino. Sakura read. Idate Marino? As in that Ibiki guy who tried to traumatize all of us? You know I don't know. Sakura tapped her chin with her finger. Could be. Let's go and ask him. Sasuke grunted. How? Okay, fine then. Let's not ask him. Wait, hang on. Look. Naruto pointed at the underside of the mission scroll. Sakura flipped it over. A storage seal? Let's see. Another scroll came out. Oh, wow. This is how Ibiki got his scars. Apparently, some instructor got his brother to steal the Raijin from Konoha because the instructor said it would mean he'd get promoted. Naruto sighed. Sounds familiar. Sasuke was instantly alert. Raijin? As in, the legendary sword of the second Hokage? I think dibs. So very, very dibs. I want that sword. Naruto was a little taken aback. Sure, but why? That sword was able to make the second all but unbeatable on the battlefield. He was a water element, so it can clearly convert chakra into lightning element chakra. I can use the Chidori twice, maybe 3 times a day. This would do what the Chidori does for no cost, or very little. I want that sword. Naruto stepped back a bit. Wow, you're coming on a bit strong there. There are hardly any legendary weapons. Orochimaru and Itachi have 2 of them, Kusanagi and Sukanaji. I am very, very interested in getting one myself. Sukanaji? Not sure, but it's in the brochure. So? Sakura said brightly. I think we can assume the guy with the Raijin is the bad guy, then. Better than that. This scroll has photos, and a note from Ibiki. It says, "Get that bastard who screwed with my brother." Naruto, that's just not fair. What? Naruto asked. From his palanquin. He'd made one out of scrounged materials, and was having a dozen shadow clones carry him so that if, or when, they had to fight after going alongside Idate in the race, he would be rested. It makes it look like you're taunting the racers. Well, I could just have a fox or 3 parallel the course, but frankly this sounds better to me. I get to see the race, and keep an eye on those rain genin. One of them still looks at me nasty. Sakura nodded. She could hardly argue with that logic. At least not with other pressing issues. Are those the same rain genin from the exams, then? Were they the one that Cory stole the otter contract from? Damn, you might be right. Better keep them out of sight. You. Hey, rain genin. Oboro, right? Naruto said nervously. You stole my contract. Give it back. How was it stolen? There were literally no living signatories to it, and you'd forgotten it in the bottom of a bag. Besides, I can't give it back, I don't have it. Oboro was by now practically shaking with anger. Who does, then? Naruto pointed to Sakura. She does. Thanks a lot, Naruto. Any time. Sakura sighed. I'll get him later. Now, the thing is, I don't actually think you're right for them. They seem really pleased with me, and you're not the sort of person who'd fit them. If I am, we're quite different. Sasuke tapped Oboro on the shoulder. If you perform the summoning technique with no contract, you get sent to the land of the most appropriate summon. You might want to try that. Fine, I will. And if I get sent to the land of the otters, you're giving that contract right back. Oboro took a soldier pill, flipped through the hand seals and vanished. Sasuke was counting to himself. And 0. Boom. What just happened, Sasuke? Sakura asked. I planted an explosive note on him on a 20-second fuse and made him remove himself from where there are witnesses. Fiendish and slightly ruthless. Thanks. Naruto, meanwhile, was chatting with Mubi and Kagari. What, your Kage wears a slashed headband? That doesn't make sense. He's God, he and his angel can do as they like. I thought most people were polytheist, you know, the gods descended from Izanami and Izanagi, that sort of thing. I myself am rather partial to Inari. Most are. But we are not anymore, for Pain our god and his angel have shown us the error of our ways by killing the false gods, and their foul servant the salamander. Naruto shook his head. And I thought people found my ramen obsession weird. In the land of the oil-producing squid, Binkoboro looked around wildly. Where am I? He became aware of a hissing. Looking down, he saw the tag on his clothes. Oh, son of a one of the squid saw him, and its eyes widened. Boom. Fum. Ba-ba-ba b-ba-ba-ba boom. Kane sneezed. Who? Someone did a really good prank somewhere. A rain headband bounced past. Well, well, well. Just goes to show that 3 Chunin who were promoted too early can't take down a Jonin. Aoi chuckled to himself. But I suppose I can be magnanimous. I'll put the effort in to kill you with the most powerful weapon I possess, the Raijin, the sword of the lightning god. The traitor pulled the hilt out of his pocket and lit it, the legendary sword crackling to life. Then everything happened at once. The 3 Konoha Chunin of Team 7 vanished in smoke clouds, a hawk shot past at head height and bit Oi's fingers, then another and larger one followed and Sasuke, astride it, grabbed the Raijin out of the air. Naruto emerged from underground with a tiny fox on his head, and Sakura replaced with it as it jumped off his hair. Then she began providing cover as he charged the shocked Jonin with a Rasengan in each hand. Aoi, it transpired, wasn't a very good Jonin. Well, that went well, Sakura said brightly. You're telling me? We managed to help out Ibiki's brother and get him closure, completed the mission. Sasuke has his sword, Yesu will be my sword, and that is a good thing, because Raijin is a good sword and is being kinda creepy, and the land of tea feel in debt to wait a sec. Ide couldn't become a Chunin because he failed the Chunin exams? Sakura shrugged. Yeah, so? When? At what point in the exams can you fail permanently? That question from Ibiki perhaps? No, if you took it you passed. Huh. Don't know then. Ah, good. Team 7, I have an urgent request for you. Apparently, spies of Orochimaru's broke into the village and stole the still traumatized Niji Hyuga. He didn't offer much resistance. Sakura raised her hand. Shouldn't that be kidnapped? When someone's that rigid they get stolen. Anyway, they are heading for the village of Hidden Sound in the land of rice. You're directed to retrieve him. Support has been requested from Sand but may not arrive in time. Jirobo chuckled. You haven't got a hope of getting out of here. I'll drain your chakra dry. The earth dome began to vibrate, then glow red. Jirobo started sweating, seized up and fell backwards. A pair of monstrous chakra arms burst through the top of the dome of earth and began tearing pieces off. The Sound 3 split up and began running for it as Naruto tore the dome down. Sasuke grunted. You could have done that a lot quicker. Yeah, but this way looks better. All right, we need to follow them. If you work out which has the barrel, let us know. Sakura instructed. Wait, barrel? Sasuke frowned. Naruto explained for him. One of my clones spotted the barrel just before it popped. They seem to have put Niji in it. Why, I don't know, but it's probably easier to carry him like that. Sasuke considered. Okay. Naruto, take the guy with 2 heads. Sakura, the enemy Kunoichi, and I'll handle the freaky arms guy. Our blood limit lets us merge with your very body, and Naruto went 2 tails, and the violent eruption of Millie's chakra burned Yukon out of his system. Sakon gulped. What happened to brother? Not sure, but it looked unpleasant. I'll just be going then. The remaining brother sidled off, and was barely out of sight when he screamed abruptly and fell silent. Kankuro walked into the clearing with his 2 puppets, one of them reassembling itself after a nasty little finisher. Wait, are you the reinforcements? Naruto asked. Yes. Konoha's allies. Naruto waited. That's all you're saying? Basically, yeah. Oh, that reminds me. My siblings are along as well. Tamari headed off to the northeast and Gaara went north. How is Gaara doing, actually? I heard he was going for Kazekage. Yeah. His campaign slogan is "It makes sense, I can use the entire desert as a weapon." Also, all the other Kazekage have Ichibi-based powers too. I cut out the middleman. Neat. In our case, it seems like every Jinchuriki has been at the least married to a Kage. Tayuya chuckled. See? I use puppets made of pure chakra, which means there's nothing for you to destroy. And don't think you can sever the animation strings, there aren't any. She played a few notes, and the hulking monsters ponderously moved to attack Sakura. Sakura replied by blinking, forming a Rasengan and replacing with Tayuya's flute. Tamari Tree hopped into the clearing seconds later. The sand. Then she looked around. EW. Oh, hi Tamari. Did you make Chunin? Actually, I did. The council decided that my not fighting Konoha in the invasion was a sign of good forethought, and to be honest, I think the prospect of fighting that weapon girl scared them too. Neat. Sakura blinked, performed a water camping technique and cleaned herself of the bits of sound nin. Oh, that's going to make me feel unpleasant for days. Sasuke swung the Raijin in desperate arcs. Kadumaru was making it rain spiders, spider-based weapons and the occasional arrow made of natural Kevlar. His lovely, lightning sword helped, as it could absorb anything that happened to be elemental and electrocute anything that wasn't, but even his 3. At 12, Tomo's Sharingan was barely enough to keep him in the running. Was this guy made of caffeine or something? Yeah. Feel the wrath of my best equipment loadout, noob. Kadumaru called, before hearing a low voice behind him. Shinobi. An enormous mass of sand landed on him, and he knew no more. You summoned the Shikaku on top of him? Sasuke asked dubiously. Gaara stared back. It worked. Tell your teammate that I desire his address. I hunger for a pen pal. Sure, I'll do that. We better get Niji out of that barrel, though. Sasuke carefully sawed at the final slip of paper, wincing as his Sharingan showed an intense flare of chakra from the seal failing. That was surprisingly hard to open. Agreed. That sword of yours was useful for it, though I notice it appears to have cracked slightly in the battle. Sasuke checked it. Sure enough, there was a tiny nick in the blade. He frowned, then turned the sword off and on again. No nick. So it can repair, that's handy. Niji twitched. Sasuke turned to him. Are you well enough to talk again? Gaara frowned. My apologies. I believe the barrel he was in was also under the Shikaku. Orochimaru checked the time. Shouldn't the Sound 4 be back by now? Kabuto shrugged. How's that flame Rasengan going, Sasuke? What about your water one, Sakura? Naruto asked as he strolled into the new training ground Team 7 had been assigned. Since they were working on technique experimentation and blowing things up alarmingly regularly, the third had directed them to one of the areas devastated in the invasion. Sasuke was messing with shape manipulation on the Raijin, trying to get at the source of chakra it represented. A moment's check by Naruto had found that it actually converted nature chakra, so it was as close to a free weapon as there was. A clone of his was staring at a Rasengan with an active Sharingan, occasionally twitching before sighing. The original Uchiha looked over. Hey Naruto. I'm having to use my eye's predictive capabilities to tell when this thing is about to explode. It wastes less shadow clones. If I'm about to do something that makes it blow up, I can just not do that thing. Sakura frowned. Isn't that an information paradox? And morning, Naruto. The Mangekyo Sharingan is known to be able to warp space enough to form a wormhole. Time paradox isn't actually all that far-fetched. Sasuke commented. Oh, what are you doing? Naruto replied with 1,500 clones, which spread out across the training grounds and began to explode. Wind Rasengan. And you, Sakura? I'm actually working on another element rather than going for my first. The last time I got an element, it expanded my available aspects, so I hope I'll be able to maintain a three-way split if I develop enough orthogonal powers. She went through a set of seals and produced a fairly pathetic breeze. Oh, non-native elements are annoying. Sasuke frowned. That's actually pretty good. My eyes ensure the conversion works, but the chakra cost goes up a lot for anything not fire or lightning. A muffled boom echoed across the training grounds and Sasuke went cross-eyed. Clone ran out of chakra from the Sharingan and blew the Rasengan up. That's let's see 30% of my supply gone? I think we need soldier pills. Medic skills? Sakura mused. Might be good, plays to my strengths. Hey, Naruto? Think you could get me an in with your great aunt? You mean Granny Tsunade? Sure, I'll see what I can do. Naruto renewed his clones and pointed to a group of 50. Go ask Asuma-sensei about learning more wind attacks. Sasuke raised an eyebrow, knowing the Fox code on technique mastery. You got the gusty barrier to the point it's one seal? Yeah, all those clones using it in snow were really helpful on that front. You have a stone that channels strange energy? At Temujin's nod, Sakura rolled her eyes. Right. Hey, Naruto, Sasuke. This guy's never heard of chakra. It's not chakra. It's Jello energy. Oh, really? What does it do? Air. It lets people create illusions, fire blasts of elemental power and regenerate. Naruto nodded, and casually slid his hand open, holding it up as it steamed and closed. Chakra. The seal is bound by my blood. If I use it, it will seal the vein, but it means I will surely die. Naruto rolled his eyes. Right. Gimme a bit of that, I'll get a shadow clone to deliver it. Gods, is it just me, or is everyone really unimaginative? Wind. Sakura thought, trying for the same sense she had before. Wind dances, flows, cuts and bludgeons. It's the element of finesse, the element of the fine touch and of the vast, seething mass of air that extends above us. In ice, it is the sharpness. It can be the presence, the absence, or the thin boundary between. It is the most versatile and the rarest. It is wind. A wrenching, and the three aspects of Sakura greeted their fourth member, a long-haired girl with a spring in her step and silk clothes that drifted in the lightest breeze. Well, that was strange, Sakura said weakly. You're telling me. Curry of life, that ostrich, the land of birds, hidden star, and I didn't appreciate the whole Naruto is virulently contagious incident either. You know I have so much chakra that if there was a virus that turned chakra against the subject, I'd basically explode. Sasuke looked optimistic. Surprisingly. Well, here's hoping the next mission is actually interesting. And in a different way to the chakra liquid incident. Yeah, about that. It took you 10 whole minutes to think of using the Raijin on it? What can I say? It was really, really nasty stuff. Team 7. As one of you has the closest connections to hidden sand we have, you're being sent with temporary extras to help save the current frontrunner in their election, Gaara of the Desert. If this is to save Gaara, then let's go right now. The others can catch up, right? Naruto said, then turned to Sasuke. Can you go and take Nii on a hawk? Or is it quicker if I use Ikamaru? Calm down, Naruto. The sand is far enough away that a few minutes one way or another won't make a difference. Naruto rolled his eyes. And yet, it always does. Always. Have you ever arrived 2 hours early to a battle? Or 3 hours late? It's always minutes. Fair point. All right, off you go. Temari fell back from Kujaku, the strange woman's swords allowing her to match the sand kunoichi's control of the wind. Even her fan, powerful though it was, didn't help enough. Sasuke arrived on the battlefield clone first, his airdropped shadow clone being reflexively taken out by Kujaku as it arrived, leaving an unstable flame Rasengan, which promptly blew up and merged with her wind control layers. Temari winced as the massive fireball engulfed her opponent. Oh, brutal. Is your entire team like this now? Sasuke's mount hovered down to head height. I'm a bit more so than Naruto, Sakura's in the middle. But he still won't tell me how he beat that Sound 4 member. Temari nodded. Oh, hang on. Looks like the swords survived the explosion. Sasuke jumped down from his hawk and went over. Yep, both of them. They're wind-natured according to my eyes, and Naruto's wind element. Want one? Sounds good. Oh, that reminds me. Sasuke tossed one of the swords to Temari. Naruto asked us to say this. Soon as allies. Temari groaned. You're never letting us live that down, are you? Naruto might in a few more years. Kankuro sent his remaining puppet around Ryugen in an arc, trying to stay far enough away to avoid the attacks from the Guardian sword. Ryugen chuckled. You sand puppeteers are never good enough to fight on your own. Always relying on your pathetic little puppets. Kankuro jumped back from a strike. Then drop that sword of yours and we'll call it even. This sword is one of the prized weapons of the artisans of Takumi village. I will never give it up. A javelin pinned his arm to the ground. Sakura appeared from the trees, flanked by otters. Nice situational awareness, there. Ryugen clenched his fists in rage and activated the special mode of his sword again, forming it into a dragon that lunged for Sakura, and he took a vicious chop to the back of the neck. Sakura's clone dispersed as the attack reached it. Looks like my illusions are still up to snuff, too. Who would have thought that a sound displacer would help so much? Oh, and the leaf Kankuro nodded. Impressive. I like a good illusion. What was that last one? Cloaking, general purpose. It's transparency, sound displacement, and that sort of thing. It means that a lot of the tells that give away a clone aren't there as you're just walking normally while transferring them to the clone. The puppeteer stroked his chin. I might try that sometime. Good luck. It takes me an aspect to pull it off. Suko laughed as he saw another person turn up to fight him. The Jinchuriki of sand wasn't able to penetrate his infinite armor. How could another ninja possibly hurt him? Naruto skidded to a halt. Hey Gaara. What's this guy like? He drains chakra. I think that I do not have enough to overwhelm his armor like you did in the exams. Right. Naruto grinned. Charge. It is hopeless. My infinite armor will. Suko looked down at his armor as Naruto's one-tail state locked him in a bear hug. Should it be glowing like this? Boom. Bits of infinite armor rained down over the battlefield. Shinobi. Naruto said, then noticed another man at the edge of the clearing. Air, summoning, death from above. Hoki of Takumi blinked, still shocked at seeing the infinite armor blow up, then was flattened by a falling no. Impressive. Gaara commented. We must retrieve my student. She is likely distraught. What, from the kidnapping? No. From not having as much of a chance to fangirl over me. Naruto blinked. You have fangirls now? Then grinned. Nice work. So explain to me again why you think taking him out of the village is a good idea? Jiraiya gave a winning smile. It'll give me the opportunity to teach him as much as I know, and to let him get experience in the outer world. Sarutobi just stared at his former pupil. Oh, fine then. It will also get him out of your village while he works on potentially explosive technique experimentation. With more chakra than most Bijou to freely access and thousands of clones. In that case, approved. Get him out of the village until things stop blowing up. Hey, your guy, right? Lee's sensei? Yash. That I am, Naruto Uzumaki. What is it you wish to talk with me about? Naruto nodded. Well, I'm off on a training trip soon, and I wondered if you'd be able to teach me how to open the first gate before I leave. Guy frowned. The gates are extremely damaging. Why do you want to learn? Well, I heal really fast, regenerate, that sort of thing, and my teacher, not Kakashi but my other one, pointed out that muscles grow by being torn and then healing. So if I use the strain of the gate to tear up my muscles a lot and then regenerate them a lot, I could make myself much stronger. The green beast rubbed his chin. I can't say I've thought of that one before, but it sounds like a plan. The first gate is the easiest to open, but I doubt you can learn it in a day. 500 Narutos appeared. I am serious about wanting to learn this, sensei. Hopefully having several hundred clones trying will be enough, as I just need to know how to perform the primary lotus. Very well. Let us allow your youth to explode. One of the shadow clones detonated. Naruto snickered at the shock on Guy's face. He'd been waiting for that line, and overloaded a Rasengan with wind just to mess with the Jonin. So, your time will be divided into several areas. Your own experimentation, of course, but also my specialty covert operations and spying and a better taijutsu style for your specialties and skills. Add to that some elemental techniques in earth and wind, you hit the jackpot on that one. By the way, only element you might have trouble with is fire, and finally see if we can get your Jinchuriki states stabilized above 3 tails. Ideally you should have the ability to maintain pure chakra, cloak up to at least 6 the Nanabai Jinchuriki in the last big war, manage that, and then also be able to manage the shift into secondary form as low as 2. Naruto nodded. I do have something of a style, the fox one. It's mainly based on their body form, so not much good in human shape, but it does emphasize tactical thinking and ambush. Never actually get in the fight yourself when the enemy knows it, that sort of thing. Jiraiya accepted the comment, then replied. The frog style might fit you as well, if you ever stabilize Sage mode. It focuses on long-distance movement at high speed followed by single devastating attacks, could complement the fox ambush specialization, actually. One for human form, one for not. Sounds good. Now, where are we going? Jiraiya frowned. Air HM. Why not start with the land of water and go on from there? I hear their civil war is over.
Go support me on Patreon for more fanfiction that includes adult content as well. The link is in the description and like everywhere on my channel. Thank you for your views, likes, subscriptions, and overall support of my ongoing efforts to bring great content to all of you.